That's awesome. And yeah, let's get right to it. Kiyan Anthony and Tyler Jackson, two players that you wrote about, possibly looking to team up with each other. So Kiyan Anthony, what are you hearing regarding his recruitment?
Yeah, so obviously the big news with Kiyan Anthony is that he's getting his top list coming soon. I would expect that maybe as soon as today, possibly, or sometime later this week. But with that top list, one school that I would really expect to be there is Syracuse, of course. So really, with Kiyan Anthony right now, we kind of don't know a ton about his recruitment as far as other schools. I know Rutgers, I know Ohio State has kind of been jumping in there recently, but we're on the Syracuse podcast, so let's kind of focus on Syracuse. I think the cool thing with Kiyan Anthony and kind of his recruitment is how really uninvolved Carmelo Anthony is. I mean, Carmelo obviously brought a national championship to Syracuse, is probably one of Syracuse's most historic players, one of their greatest players of all time at that university. And I think that it's really cool that he's not really pressuring him to go to Syracuse. He's very uninvolved in terms of pushing him that way or pushing him any sort of direction. And I think that's pretty rare when it comes to kind of these NBA dads. He's not really involved in his recruitment. He's not out there saying, no, you, Sam Lance, you reporters can't talk with Kiyan about his recruitment. So I think that has just kind of been a really cool and really important for Kiyan. But obviously, I think Carmelo would love to see him at Syracuse. And as Kiyan said, the coaches are recruiting Kiyan for Kiyan and not for Carmelo. And I think he really likes that. And I think that's why Syracuse is in a good position right now with Kiyan Anthony.
That's awesome to hear. And I know some people might say and might be a little bit discouraged perhaps that other schools are involved and why isn't Carmelo pushing Kiyan to go to Syracuse and all that. What I would say is look at some other all-time greats and their sons or their daughters. They do not always follow in the footsteps, right? You see it present day. Arch Manning is at Texas. If you go look up the Manning family, none of them went to Texas. It's all about the fit and the individual, and I do appreciate that you have reported that, hey, they are recruiting Kiyan for Kiyan and not Kiyan for Carmelo Anthony. So I view it as a positive. What type of player is Kiyan Anthony?
So Kiyan, is very similar to his father in the fact that he can score the basketball. I mean, that is Kiyan's calling card. If you watch his games, he's getting up a lot of shots. I mean, that is his thing. He scores the ball. I think he had a 40-point game while down in Peach Jam. And then the game that I watched, he was playing Team Durant. That was like the one game that I really watched in full of Kiyan. He dropped like 26, 8 of 12 shooting. So really, he's just a scorer. He's had NBA level training for a long time now as he's kind of, built his career, has been growing in his game. And you can see it out on the court. Like, he has a bag that is developed. Like, he knows what spots he can get to. He knows what shots he can make, and he makes them a lot more often than he doesn't make them. So really, I would just say he's kind of, your prolific scorer. He's going to put the ball in the hoop. He doesn't necessarily have to be a ball-dominant player. And I don't really think he is right now for Team Melo because, he has Tyler Jackson there to run the one, handle the ball. So really, I think he's just kind of your scoring wing, just kind of like Carmelo was.
How do you think he can improve his game?
With Kiyan, I think it'll be more consistent finishing around the basket. And then defensively, I think that he shows a lot of, intensity on the defensive end, but just really honing down on that end and becoming a stopper, I think will kind of be the next level in this game. But let's call it like it is. He's a scorer. That's what he's on the court to do, is score the basketball.
Sweet. And you mentioned Tyler Jackson. So same question to start off with Kiyan Anthony. What are you hearing regarding Tyler Jackson's recruitment?
Yeah, so Tyler Jackson's recruitment has been really quiet, honestly. He has, last time that I talked with him before Peach Jam was in Kansas City, I believe, and he had this gigantic list of schools. Like, he would stop, naming a couple schools, and he'd be like, oh yeah, and Auburn, Alabama, and just so I think the big thing for him is narrowing it down. And Tyler also said while I interviewed him that he is looking to narrow down his schools as soon as this week. So be on the lookout for that. But I think the tidbit that's really important here, at least for this podcast, is the quote from Tyler Jackson when it comes to playing with Kiyan Anthony. Firstly, Tyler Jackson said that they've really been talking about it. Like, this isn't just something that, us media people are thinking about, seeing them play together. This is something that they are actually talking about. They are actually chatting about and seriously considering doing between them two. So, I mean, that's a big thing. And obviously, Tyler Jackson says this, I love Syracuse, coming from Melo, that's been his program back winning the national championship. Me and Kiyan are really trying to bring another national championship. We're gonna, whatever school he goes to, whatever school I choose, if we choose Syracuse together, we're gonna bring a national championship. You feel me? So that's kind of big. I mean, it seems like they really are in on possibly going to Syracuse, teaming up at Syracuse, and bringing a national championship whenever they get there.
That's music to everyone's ears that are hearing that. So we appreciate it. And you're being honest, right? You're being honest with us. I mean, I've read the quote, I've seen the quote, I've said the quote. So that's awesome. Now, how do they actually plan on attacking their recruitments? Because you mentioned that they might team. He mentioned it actually that he might consider teaming up and everything like that. So how is that really going about?
I'm not entirely sure. That's kind of conversations between them. But one thing they both haven't visited Syracuse officially together. I think that might maybe be the next step is here upcoming. They get to Syracuse together, and the coaching staff is kind of able to break things down for them, how it would look, how it would work with them two together. But the biggest thing, again, is their lists are going to be narrowed down here sometime this week, sometime upcoming. So really, once you get that list, we'll know a lot more just kind of how things are trending, maybe when they might want to commit, things like that.
Got it. And I mean, they both officially visited campus, but like you said, I don't think either visit that they've taken have been together. So if they were to visit campus, first of all, it would also be an unofficial visit because I think they've both officially visited. They would have to both unofficially visit together. And then, right, you said they go over.
I believe with the unlimited official rule, now they would be able to go again, but don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure, but I think they could visit officially again if they please.
Got it. You know what I say to that? You know what? The rules are always changing. So it's sometimes, recently
it's hard to keep up.
We're going to get to scholarships in a second, but they recently upped it to 15. I don't know even when that's going to kick in. I would assume it won't be for this year. It'll be for the following year. But these rules in college sports are always changing. So, it used to be you get a certain amount of official visits. Now you get unlimited. Do you get more than one at a certain school? I'm not entirely sure. So we'll see how it goes. But regardless, got to get them both on campus at the same time. That's the big takeaway with Kiyan and T-Jack. And like you said, look out for those look out for those lists pretty soon between those two.